In every other class in high school, I've been told to take Scantron tests throughout the year to measure my academic progress and just cram facts into my brain before taking the test. When I learned we weren't doing that in religions, I was a little skeptical that I didn't have to know specific information and that it was going to compromise my education on religion. I've learned way more using case studies than I ever imagined, and way more than I would using a Scantron.
The use of case studies has also helped me to grow as a student and encourage creativity and, most importantly, curiosity in my everyday life.
Case studies require me to look at cultural events and identify themes we learn about in class, as well as explain the consequences of those themes.
Using case studies does not only allow the student to express their own understanding of a subject, but it provides more options than just 3 O's to fill in.
By using case studies instead of these Scantron exams, I'm able to have some say in what I want to look at, think about, and write, which makes the experience much more engaging.
Case studies allow for a research-based understanding of the material. It allows for students to explore religions through different viewpoints and experiences illustrated by primary and secondary sources.
Case studies are more engaging because it allows the students to do guided research on a topic that they are interested in, along with learning about the religion.
It also helps us connect it to how religion is embedded everywhere and how it changes over time.
Well, I think case study assignments are more challenging and take up more time than studying for exams in other classes. I believe case studies are more worthwhile because they have challenged me to grow as a student.
So the preparation for case studies is easier, but I feel like writing them is actually harder than a Scantron test, but I'm okay with that because I'm able to express my knowledge and use a little creativity to show what I know.
I feel that by using case studies as a means of assessment, we've been pushed to more thoroughly immerse ourselves in all we are learning.
I personally like case studies a lot better than any other assessment because I feel like it helps me understand more about the religions that I'm learning about rather than just basic facts.
Scantrons are black and white, but case studies feel creative and flexible. I don't feel as forced to learn, it kind of just happens.
With case studies, I've been able to investigate things that I find interesting and do real research on topics that are going on today.
I believe the system allows for students to control their own learning and decide how they want to interact with these deep discussions.
I feel like the case studies are also a confirmation that I can apply the lessons that I've learned in class to my everyday life, just in the news or wherever I may come across instances of religion.
And by doing case studies this year, it's helped me look forward to assessments instead of dread traditional Scantron tests.
I get to actively research a topic of my choice, making me more engaged.
Another advantage of using this model is that instead of just memorizing facts, we are invited to learn about how religions impact the world in which we live in.
It allows me to choose what aspect of each religion I want to further research and dive into.
Being able to have questions to pick from and answer makes me feel a lot more confident with my assessment.
Religion's involved through the power of voice, and a Scantron would not be able to properly demonstrate or express that.
And I think that it's really important to be able to engage in the primary source material that we're given and to truly listen critically to practitioners actually practicing their religion and see how it fits in the context of the world. So it definitely shows how diverse the world truly can be.
Since case studies are so individualized and specific, I've gotten to dive deep into one aspect of religion and as a result disrupt some assumptions that I'd had.
It allows students to be more themselves and allow them to open up.
For example, my Christianity case study addressed the tension of the United Methodist Church and over the election of a lesbian bishop, which is against the church's policy. I was responsible for proving my understanding that folks in the same religion, even the same sect, can hold different opinions. This method of assessment stresses nuance, which is harder than just saying Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote the Gospels. I'm not simply filling in bubbles to show that my teacher has taught me certain names or dates that I'm not going to remember. It allows me to ask myself how I am personally going to use this knowledge and how I can expand my thinking beyond just the facts of religion.
I also feel more comfortable being curious and asking questions in class, knowing that I'm not forced to write everything down for the future. This makes me a more prepared student.
I also think that with this new format, it forces us as students to think in new ways.
Although there is a significant workload paired with the case study assignments, I find that the information I learned through the research has helped me to become a more informed and empathetic member of society.
I'm taking away more knowledge than ever before. It changes the way I think about the world and makes me feel more empathetic towards it.
And as a result from all of this, I've strengthened my writing and researching skills, which will help me next year as I go off into college.
I now approach situations that deal with religion and culture in a very different way, as I remind myself of things like no one person speaks for a whole religion, and ask myself questions like, how is this religious view embedded in culture?
And researching and writing case studies has allowed me to push myself academically as a student because I'm becoming a better critical thinker and I'm developing my ideas about the religion instead of just reciting and regurgitating information.
In general, these case studies are just a different way of learning because you are the one that's finding the information about these topics, and it's not like you're just given like you have to learn this or that or learn a formula to like succeed in the test. It's you're finding information, writing like a study about what you've found.
Makes it just so much more interesting, so much more enjoyable, and makes my learning experience just 100 times better, and I really appreciate that.